This has to be
Please.
fake news. This can't be real. We're living in an alternate universe. This is not real.
I mean, he's an upgrade on what's it called? Havertz, that's for sure.
Wallahi, the guy's not an upgrade on nobody. He's just the same shit, different smell.
He's an upgrade on Havertz, man. He scores more goals than Havertz. He's much more effective.
No, he didn't,
Great
bro.
driver of the
Havertz
ball.
was injured and he scored less goals than him.
Yeah, so was he. He was out for 4 months.
Havertz was out for 4.
As well. So therefore, listen, tomatoes, he scored more than him the season before as well.
No
so
chance.
Listen,
No chance Arsenal goes and sign Nicolas Jackson.
you never know, man. Listen, he can play on the left wing too. He solves
fake,
the issue as well. It solves the issue of left wing play too.
Fake news. I don't believe it. This smells like shit. Somebody's lying.
Oh, it smells good, man.
No,
It
somebody's lying.
smells like 60 million to me. So that's what it smells like to me.
Somebody's lying. Somebody's making jokes. Somebody's trying to.
Can you imagine that if we sold both Havertz and Jackson for
Yo,
120 million?
Duncan is legit, man. That's all I'm saying.
This has to be fake news.
That would be generational for my football.
Wait, who's posted on his behalf? Because it's not actually on his
This
timeline.
has to be fake news. This can't be real.
It's not on his Twitter.
No, it got a report by our top aggregator as well that he reported as well. I think he
No,
probably
he tweeted it. Check it out.
he tweeted as well, yeah.
He
Wait,
tweeted,
Duncan Castles.
yeah, Jackson's an option for Arsenal seeking best.
Oh, please. Yo, someone message Gunner, man. He needs an emergency stream.
Wallahi, there's no chance. There is no chance. There is no chance we go and sign Nicolas Jackson.
I'm fully back in the room now. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you, mate.
Yeah,
No
beautiful. Sorry, but so before I missed the Forest section. So obviously,
Wait, before you start, Jay, do me a favor. Spin your camera around. So I don't get OCD.
What OCD? What's it? My weed table.
No, spin. No, man. Go off portrait. Go landscape.
Oh,
There is no chance Arsenal are signing Nicolas Jackson. No chance in hell.
okay, what's that?
Egal, if you sign Jackson instead of Gyokeres or Šeško, are you Arteta out?
I give up on the club, bro. It's finished.
That's not what I asked.
But
There's no-
I follow you on Twitter. I've seen you've been very. What's the word now? You've been very much trying to rally your team, your fellow fans to not overreact, saying, "Hey, we're doing good business. Things are going well. It's going okay. Everything's doing well. Yada yada yada." You're happy with the business so far? You're happy with the direction the team's going? Yeah.
Are you talking
Yeah,
to me?
he thinks Norgard's the best signing
Yeah,
of the
like in general, bro, you've been. I feel like you've been happy with all the links of the guys you've signed, no? As of recently, from what I've seen, you've been happy with Norgard. You've been happy, obviously, with Kepa. Who's the other guy that I'm forgetting to mention?
Zubimendi.
Zubimendi, happy with. You know,
His happy party's going.
Yeah, he's happy parties. Like, I think in general, you've been quite happy in general. So, like, I'm not sure.
This is where my happiness goes to the shitter. If we go and sign Jackson, that is where things go to bed.
But Egal, this is the thing. It's like perception is like nobody can contain your perception of something. I swear to God, if like a team like Bournemouth sign, not Zubimendi, because obviously Zubimendi would still be above them, but still, it's Bournemouth who actually had Kepa as number one last season, and they also bought Norgard and Kepa. I wouldn't even be like, oh my God, amazing signings for Bournemouth. I'd be like, okay, like, not bad, decent. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like I'm one of these things where it's like, good fans can rationalize anything. I know this because I'm a good fan. Like, obviously, we're good fans on this panel. I'm sure our job is to be fans. It's not to be critics of our team. We leave that to the rivals. Completely understand it. But if you were actually to say, your colleagues at Liverpool have bought Verts, Frimpong, Gyokeres. Your colleagues at City have bought, multiple players between now and January. You know the bar. Now, I guess these signings to me, I just ask myself, the status quo, keeping the equilibrium, is that enough based on the last 2-3 seasons for where you need to be? Do you see what I mean? So I'm not saying the signings are bad. I'm just merely saying that keeping the status quo of where you are versus where you're trying to be has already proven not to be good enough. So
All right.
when you say you're okay, well, no, so when you say you're okay and happy with these signings, I'm almost like, well, what you got wasn't good enough. You're kind of standing still. So what makes you happy with it?
Okay, first things first. Neto left, Kepa coming in. That is a 1-for-1. We needed a backup keeper. Partey leaving, Zubimendi coming in. That's 1-for-1. We needed another starting midfielder of quality. And to be fair, I think Zubimendi is one of our bigger signings we've made so far. Out of all the players that are coming in, he's one player that a lot of people across Europe wanted. Real Madrid, Liverpool, Bayern Munich, Manchester United. So many other teams wanted him. He's a quality player. I'm quite excited about his signing. But the fact that we've known he's coming in since January has kind of killed the excitement. Norgard, although it's extremely underwhelming, I think it is.
Say that again? Underwhelming?
Yeah, it's underwhelming because it's not an exciting signing. It's not something that's going to get you excited. A Premier League proven midfielder for £10 million is just like a sensible deal. Because with Jorginho leaving, we need to go and bring in somebody that can do what
I don't have a problem though. In my personal opinion,
a fill-in person, somebody who can play Premier League games and doesn't need time to adjust. Because if we were to go and get a 20-year-old youngster, he might not be ready to come in and fill in on.
My thing is Egal though. My thing Egal. I don't think any of the signings you made. I don't really have an issue with any of that actually so far. My problem is that, and I've always come back to this when it comes to Arsenal.
Oh, I didn't even finish.
No, but like the three main signings, I don't have a problem with. I don't really feel like there's nothing to discuss about those three signings. Like,
but they're important. They're important with the next part. The next three signing have to be a striker.
Why? The question I was going to ask you is that why can't those other three signings, which I would argue are vastly more important than the initial three that we just mentioning right now, yet not be done so fast?
Arsenal, the way we do business, we always agree the big signings majority of the time closer to when preseason hits. So we're not paying them wages for an extra 3 weeks of football that they're not playing.
That's the dumbest reason I've ever heard if it's true.
We don't necessarily put these guys on June 1st. We don't sign a player June 1st because we're not going to pay them an extra month of wages for somebody who's not going to kick a ball for us until July.
If that is a club policy, I would sack whoever made that club policy.
No, don't get me wrong though. We can still get the deal sorted. We can still negotiate the fee. We can still agree a fee. We can still do all that stuff and have everything done in the background like we did with Zubimendi.
Why is Zubimendi in?
What?
Why is Zubimendi in now then? Why didn't I wait till preseason?
Zubimendi's already sorted. We're waiting because
but what's he on?
Real Sociedad he's on 100K a week.
You're spending an extra 400K. Why didn't you bring him in a month later?
Real Sociedad want his fee to be paid for the next calendar season in July. So in about 3 days.
Where did you get this from, bro? Seriously, I gotta ask.
It's reported that we're doing Real Sociedad a favor so they can balance their books better and they get
this whole thing about we don't want to bring up the big boys in until preseason.
This is how my club's operated for the last near decade. We always go and sign our big signings in July. Think about it. A majority of our big signings come in July. The last big signing that came in June is probably Lacazette.
Yeah, but that was your last striker.
Yeah. No, Aubameyang.
Was Aubameyang after? When did Aubameyang came in the winter?
And Jesus.
Yeah, but like again, I think this argument, I don't think any of us here would be having this issue if, like, you know, let's say we, from an Arsenal perspective, been hearing you've been advancing on these deals for, you know, maybe those attackers, right? We've been hearing, but we have, bro. When is the last? Genuinely, like from what maybe I don't look at Arsenal maybe as much as like the average Arsenal fan, of course. But I don't really hear that much about Arsenal advancing on like deals for like attackers as much. I don't know about you guys.
Berta does business different. He works on two deals at the same time, figures out the financial packages for both, and then decides which one they're going to trigger. Now they're still working on the two clubs.
What are you talking about?
This is how he operates. When he does deals, he doesn't pick one target. work on that deal and finish
So what
it.
was the other deal he was working on when he was working on Zubamendi?
I don't know. He wasn't here when Zubamendi was agreed. Zubamendi was agreed in January. That's the reality. As for the striker,
What was the other deal he was working on when he was working on Norgard?
right now he was working on Thomas Partey's contract. Once Thomas Partey's contract was disagreed, he immediately pivoted to Norgard.
I can't believe
Egal, hold on. Is Berta's behavior on Šeško and Gyokeres giving you confidence or not? You're saying this is how he does deals. Are you liking this approach?
You gotta let the man cook. It's just been his first window.
Do you realize if what you're saying is true, his reputation would be the worst reputation in football because he would be the most disingenuous negotiator of a contract. To forget football, in history, man, there is probably legal proceedings that could be taken for misleading someone into, because let's say he's doing this with Šeško and Gyokeres, right? Šeško is currently contracted to his club. If Berta leads him down this false road because he wants Gyokeres and forces Šeško's relationship with his current club to collapse, they would have grounds to sue him for not false advertising, for false pretenses on what he's doing. And then no player would want to do business with Arsenal. No agent would want to do business with Arsenal because they don't know if they're this one or this one in this so-called double deal. Bro, this is the biggest amount of bollocks I've ever heard in my life.
And WOLFIE, that's a great point because Paratici does things in a very similar way. But the thing is like, they're rumors. Do you see what I mean? Like these, with Berta, it seems a little bit more like briefings, like as in like some of these journalists have very precise information. And the thing is like I have no issue with how Arsenal are doing their business. Yeah, you need to do what you want to do. I'm just looking at it like the Šeško thing. His agent's talking a lot. Yeah, the Gyokeres thing. Yeah, his agent's talking a lot. So you've got two strikers who want to leave their clubs. I always think that's an interesting thing. When you have players that want to leave their clubs, the agents are talking. I have no issue with who Arsenal signed. I think everyone knows that Arsenal, you as a fan base, like I don't want to talk for Arsenal fans, but they want to win. You want to win. So I don't really feel like the fans want to eat a meal. They don't care how it's cooked. Do you know what I mean? So at this point in time, no, I'm not going to kill Berta for his strategy. If you want to be negative on it, cool. If you want to be positive on it, cool. We have to fill the minutes in these shows.
Let me ask you guys a question though. What do you guys think about the defender we're looking at? A very exciting young defender.
I think Mosquito. Wow. I heard it's good.
Which one?
I've heard it's good. That's it.
Can I just say again now? I find it interesting that Arsenal always have money for defensive market opportunities. You always have money for defensive Calafiori market opportunity.
They tend to be a lot cheaper.
Oh, so you're telling me, right? So Mosquera, okay, so let's say Calafiori was however much, Mosquera was however much, Timber was however much. Yes, you're strengthening defense, but you're telling me for 40, for 50, this Mosquera, maybe it's going to cost 25, maybe 30, whatever. So you're telling me for these amounts of money, you can't find promising young attackers that you think can blend into the squad. You can't find market opportunity signings in attack. I don't think that. I think it's more about being content with the players you're working with and being happy and thinking you can get more out of them. That's what I think it comes down to at its very core. And I think if you're saying that, the manager has to take the blame then when the players don't get over the line, because you're saying what I have is sufficient. You can't just turn around and be like, oh, I need X and Y. You know, going into the season, you had Jesus and you had Havertz, and you said, okay, this is the manager said this is enough. If it wasn't for Jesus getting injured just before the deadline, you might not even have got Sterling. Jesus gets injured 2 weeks later. Do you even get Sterling? So this is my point in terms of now you're at a point where Arteta is almost at gunpoint with people saying you must buy attackers. Do you know what I mean? Like if you won the league last season, would you even be saying we need attackers? Do you see what I mean? So it's very relative. It's very relative to me.
The club is changing how they operate, and
because why though? Like you can,
we can
keep walking. But Egal, we can keep walking. We can say the club has changed the way they operate because they've been unable to get over the line. Now, that decision could have been taken a year ago of buying an attacker, unless you don't have the money to buy an attacker. I just want to understand truly why Arsenal are making the decisions. We speculate, but let's at least logically look at why.
Let's break it down. Let's break it down. The reason why we got Kepa for 5 million from Chelsea is because he's a cheap backup and it allows us to focus more money on the final third. The reason why we're getting Norgard for cheap is because he allows us to spend more money on the final third. The reason why we're now going to go get this defender for 20 million is because instead of spending 50 million on a backup, we're spending a decent amount of money. And finally, when it comes to the money that we should be spending in the final third, we're going to probably spend around 60 to 70 on a striker. We're going to probably spend another 60 to 90 on the winger if we get Rodrygo or Eze. And now my question to you guys is, does Arsenal's window look a lot better if we pull off Rodrygo and Gyokeres, or we pull off Eze and Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Please do hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so, and leave a comment down below what you thought of that video you just watched.